Secretary Nancy Gamble Hatfield is Tuesday, July 16th, 2013, and this is a regular meeting of the Dublin San Ramon Services District Board of Directors. Presiding this evening is President John Benson. Good evening. I'd like to call this meeting to order. Please join me in the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, roll call please. Director Halkett. Here. Director Duarte.
Here.
Vice President Leopold.
Here.
President Benson.
Here. Okay, so I know that Director Howard is not with us tonight, and he is celebrating his granddaughter's 21st birthday, so we will miss him. Move on to special announcements and activities. Nothing. Okay, public comment. Any blue cards? Okay, reports.
President Benson, members of the board, since I am the first one to speak at this meeting, let me first publicly congratulate Vice President Peter Leopold on her election to LAFCO as the special district's representative in their alternate seat. Congratulations, Georgie. And she is actually sat in on her first meeting. So, good job. You're all welcome.
Thank you.
And then I would like to note that a couple of you know this, but for the record, it's not on the agenda. We're trying to schedule a DSRSD City of Dublin liaison meeting in the late July, early August time frame. I think it will be after your August board meeting, but it's possible it will be before the August board meeting. So just for the record, that meeting is coming up. It's not shown on the agenda. And there's been no correspondence to it from the board since last week.
Okay, great. Yes, I was there for that magic moment. So we are glad that Georgie is representing us. And we will hear more about her exciting first meeting later. So let's see, event calendar committee reports. Nothing. Agenda management. Any agenda management this evening? Okay, we're moving on to approval of minutes. Item number 7. Special meeting of July 9th. Do I hear a motion? Okay, do I hear a second? All in favor? Aye. Okay, so moved. Consent calendar. Item 8. Do I hear a motion? Okay, Director Duarte.
I'll second.
Vice President Peter Leopold. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, so moved. Aye. Next on to board business. Item A, approved personal services agreement between the district and Michelle L. Galliardo as interim organizational services manager.
Yes, President Benson, members of the board, let me gently help you. It's Gallardo. Sorry about that, Michelle. We didn't rehearse.
I would just say like the Lamborghini.
The matter you have before you is to approve a personal services agreement between the district and Michelle. As you know, all senior managers, including myself, serve in at-will capacities as opposed to the rest of the district employees in our senior manager role. Michelle has been appointed as interim organizational services manager to Mary's position, essentially, to allow us a little bit of time to evaluate some staffing and organizational changes that we're going to be considering in this coming year. And thank you, Michelle, for stepping up to the plate, being willing to do that. The personal services agreement that we put together is in conformance with the negotiating direction that I received from the board of directors. And really the key element in there, really 2 key elements to note for you. One is that the agreement defines the nature of her at-will assignment, such as she's serving at the will and pleasure of the district in this position. If this position, as the interim position, goes away, she would drop back to her HR supervisor position. She would not be terminated from the district. So I hope that gives you a little bit of comfort on Michelle. And the last item, of course, is compensation. We negotiated compensation based on direction from the board that essentially would place her at the organizational services manager's position, Mary's position, 20%, I think it's 20% below that position, which would be approximately a 10 or 11% increase for Michelle, but significantly less than what Mary was making We are not planning to fill behind Michelle while she's acting in this capacity. So while there's an increase in compensation for her for the additional responsibility and the additional duties, all total the district will be stated, we estimate over $250,000 which will not fill in the position during this fiscal year. So I would wholeheartedly recommend that we approve the agreement before you.
Okay, do I hear a motion?
Please do off the second.
Okay, excellent. All right, all in favor? Aye. No opposed? Okay. Congratulations. Congratulations. Thanks.
So as a matter of agenda, I think that means we need to spend some time.
That's
Yes,
correct.
that is true.
If you wanted to check.
Okay, so at this time, I'd like to move on to item 10, board member items. We will start with Director Duarte.
The only thing I brought today was an article on the Silicon Valley Business Times and Pure Water program that Santa Clara Valley Water District is currently implementing. They're doing a big high-paid spread insert into the Silicon Valley Business Times. I thought it would be of interest to you.
Okay. Vice President Peter Leopold.
Yeah, I attended my first LAFCO meeting, which, as everyone knows, is here. I just had gotten the agenda that afternoon, so I wasn't familiar with the topics, but nothing was controversial. It was almost all report in nature. There's an issue with the Area Recreation District and the East Bay Regional Park District where I'm not exactly sure how this happened, and nobody else can explain it either. There's an area that is within their sphere of influence, but outside the city limit of Hayward, which is, if you recall, spheres of influence, it's the other way around. Yeah, because spheres of influence are further out than the city limits, and it's the other way around. And I still didn't completely understand what the resolution was, but it was pretty much non-controversial, and they voted to go along with staff, and that was the only two items that we had.
Yeah, if I could comment on that, LAFCO law is interesting in the sense that LAFCO can initiate an annexation or LAFCO can initiate an annexation or detachment, but only the property owner can initiate a retraction of the sphere. LAFCO cannot initiate a retraction of the sphere. So that's sort of the conundrum that they're in.
Somebody made a mistake, obviously, when they were drawing lines, sort of like we've had to fix over the years, but I don't think it got fixed. Nobody seemed to care one way or the other that it did or did not, so that was all I did.
Okay. Director Halpin. Okay. And I attended the Alameda County Special Districts Association meeting last Wednesday, and after that meeting, actually the speaker was Bob Wachowski, and he talked in depth about flocking. So his fracking, excuse me. Fracking. So anyway, so he gave us a really comprehensive overview of what fracking is and his bill and the pros and cons on how he's trying to pull a general consensus with all the state legislators together, which seems to be quite complex. And so it was very interesting. And then also at the end of the meeting, we adjourned and went into the Independent California Special Districts Association, where we nominated Georgine, and it was a very quick election. So it was a good meeting. And it was down at the Washington Township Hospital. Anyway, that's about it for me.
If I could interject, Georgine, you were at that.
Yes.
Meeting, so.
Well, I actually, Assembly Member Wachowski gave a really good presentation. I hadn't realized that we had been doing fracking in California I really thought this was a back east problem. And he had a lot of detail about the the potential damage it causes. And at the same time, yesterday I happened to read in the paper that Aaron Brockovich is discovering that the town of Hinckley, which you all remember if you saw the movie, is the town that was destroyed essentially by PG&E because of the stuff that leaked into their groundwater. It's still leaking, it hasn't been fixed, and bit by bit everyone's moving out of town. I think they said there was like 30 or 40 people left, so, you know, groundwater basins are not as protected as we think they should be or might be, so we are pretty lucky that ours sits with a lot of clay around it and is not as susceptible to that kind of contamination.
Need to keep a watchful eye.
Yeah, for sure.
Definitely so. Okay.
It was just interesting to read that after all this time, it still hadn't been fixed or contained or corrected or anything. And people are still getting all the cancers.
Yep, interesting. Okay, thank you. Anything else? Okay. At this time, the board will be going into closed session for 2 closed sessions listed on the agenda. So, let's see here. We have one agenda item, 11B, Public Employee Performance Evaluation pursuant to Government Code, Section 54957, titled District General Counsel. Thank you very much.
We aren't going to do 11A.
We're not going to be doing 11A. And let's see, if you're interested in what we report out, if anything was made by, please contact the district secretary, Nancy Hatfield, during regular business hours for that information. While this board meeting will continue, this broadcast will be stopped at this time because it is anticipated that there will be no report from closed session. If there is a report from closed session, it will be announced in the open session at the end of this board meeting. We hope you have a lovely evening.